So here we're going to be starting this new pool. This is a really new neighborhood. Typically the access for all these houses is really small, but this one happens to be on the end, so we got a little better shot at it. So we'll take a look here in a second what that access looks like.
So we got most of the grading done. We got the remainder stacked up, and we're starting to do the layout here. The customer has approved a design with the pool builder, and we're laying off the plans, laying the pool radius points out and spinning and painting those so that the customer can see what the pool's kind of going to look like. But like a lot of times, what happens is either the customer can't quite envision what it's going to look like on the ground, or some of the elevations might be different than what they envisioned. So anyways, here we're just off-hauling the remainder of the grading while we got a truck ready to go, and getting that out of the way so we can continue. So we're trying to finish up this layout here, and like I said, on this one we're kind of having some issues with some existing elevations that the plan shows that don't quite add up as far as what the back cut is on the property. So sometimes there's a little hurry up and wait while we try to get answers for that. But for the most part, we're moving on here. We're starting to form the spa. And like I said, even at this point, we still have some questions about some of the rear elevations. The spa is a raised spa, meaning it's raised up higher than the pool elevation. But we're trying to still get some answers, but we're starting to form and get the elevations laid out. And then we'll start getting on with the dig as soon as we get complete approval on the pool. So here we're coming down the access. So we actually use one of these steel plates as kind of a spin point for the loader, so we're not spinning on top of the existing concrete sidewalk and tearing it up. We don't really have a truck on site right now, so operators digging the pool and stacking the material up in one spot. At least we got a little room to stack the material. So anyways, this is a T870 machine with a fairly small pool. We're cutting, he's cutting the floor, and as he's cutting the floor, he's doing the trimming at the same time, and use a guy usually on a trim bar or something trimming the walls to get the walls within fairly close tolerance so that they don't shoot a lot more gunite than they need to shoot. So anyways, he's cutting the floor here, taking scoops, getting as much dirt out as he can. Really the speed comes in getting all his trimming and stuff done, and then hogging the material out to, we're cutting the skimmers. We notch all the skimmers out for the plumbers, and then we'll dig those boxes out, and those will be shot solid. There'll be a skimmer can in there, but they'll be shot solid with gunite. Operator still cutting the walls. This T870 machine is a pretty big machine. It's actually one of the biggest machine that Bobcat puts out there as far as track loader, skid steer loader, and it's pretty nice. It's got a lot of power, and it got a pretty wide track width, and they do pretty good. The other kind of nice thing about this machine is that it's got a super high reach. Get inside of transfer boxes or bangers or whatever you call them, depending what part of the country you're from, but it'll reach up there. And we don't get anything from Bobcat, but this is just a machine that we use, and it's pretty nice. And I know there's some other machines out there guys have a lot of good success with, but anyways, this is the machine we use primarily, pretty much because we got a good relationship with a dealer close to us, like most of everybody who's got good people they deal with. They continue to kind of go back to that same product unless they got a problem with it. So anyways, yeah, it's kind of this is a tight squeeze for this machine. It's a fairly close little pool. Typically, you'd have a little smaller tractor in there, but this one we were going with what we had. So. It's actually cutting the ramp right here, digging it back further. It needs to be back further so we can get that get all this material out of there. And the ramp, we'll form that up at the end, but there'll be a void there behind the pool. A lot of times, if you're digging with an excavator, you won't have a ramp, or you can form that up straight across and just hog out that end, depending on how you're going about digging the pool. If you're doing, like I said, if you're doing it in tandem with an excavator and a bobcat, you can kind of do that that way as well, and not leave a ramp for the pool guys to fill in. Somebody's got to fill it in after the plumbing goes across and compact it. So here's a shot of trimming the pool. We trim it fairly tight, depending on how thick the wall is and how big the bond beam is. We'll trim that wall fairly close as the operator's digging and trimming. That way we get a nice smooth wall and it looks pretty clean. Cutting a light niche too there on the left-hand side. So you see, as he gets a little lower in this pool, as he starts digging out this deal over there by the spa, you're seeing the soil change in some different levels, and those different levels will determine how deep the piers are, depending on where that material changes into some better stuff. You see a little lighter sandstone, beginning of some sandstone material start to appear as it gets deeper on the floor, and that, like I said, that's going to determine how deep the piers are and where in the pool. And you'll see as he cuts the break, he cuts the deep end, that's going to look like. This pool's cut, we're cutting extra out of the floor because this thing's going to have void form, not only the piers, but it'll have void form on the bottom, and we'll show you that once we get to that point. So we're bringing the excavator into the pool cavity. We're going to lay the piers out here, and on the plans it shows exactly the pier location, so we'll lay those out in the pool and just make sure everything fits okay. The pool's a little different. Once we laid it out, they changed the design a little bit, so we kind of got to get the piers in there how they should be in their correct distances based on what the engineers shown. Starting to drill the holes, drilling these. The deep ones are going to be 15, 16 feet deep on the one side. So we got all the pier holes dug, got the cages in there. The cages are number 4 ties. Spiral ties. They're 3-inch on center, and then we got number 5 and number 6 bar verticals, and that makes up the cage design. They're set in there. We got a 2x4 at top just to hold them till we pour them.
So as we saw in the other videos, we were drilling these piers with a Bobcat E85 excavator. These piers are ranging, the deepest one's about 16 feet. So anyways, we drilled them, we poured, we installed the cages, and then in between the soil and the bottom of the pool shell is going to be this void form material. And the theory behind this void form is that once that material, it essentially just creates a void. So they shoot the floor, or the gunite, shotcrete, whatever happens to be the material, they shoot that, and then that supports it and creates a space in between the super expansive soil and the pool floor. And then over time that just breaks down and they're left with a void, so that any material as it expands cannot put pressure up underneath the pool shell. And the pool shell is sitting on the piers as well. That's why they're at the same level as this void form, shear void. There's a lot of different names for it. But anyways, that's kind of the theory behind that. And so you can see what this pool looks like as a whole. It's a pretty small pool with this little attached spa, and that's pretty much it. So the next stage is they're going to come in and tie the steel for the floor and the walls. They actually had to install some of the plumbing as well, the in-floor system, just because they couldn't get to it once we have all the void form in there, the shear void. It's hard to tear it all up just to put the plumbing in for the spa and the pool, the main drains and the jets and both the skimmer returns. So anyways, that's kind of a look at that. You'll see the top of the pool form. That's where the gunite's going to be shot to, the top of the wall, and then the coping stone, tile and coping stone will be based on that. Coping stone will be above that. So you see the spa is raised up about 18 inches above the pool floor. Above the pool wall, and yeah, so that's kind of finished product on our end, and they got a couple weeks here, a week and a half or so to get to the gunite stage. So anyways, that's that. Yeah, one other thing I kind of forgot about that somebody asked me was, you can see the void form here, and then you see masonite on top. This is actually 1/4-inch masonite. This isn't really called for by an engineer, and really the only purpose of this is we put it on top because the steel guys stand on top of the shear void and it crushes it. And so it kind of defeats the purpose of having it in there. So we put this 1/4-inch masonite. Guys can stand on it, walk around, it'll support it, no problem. And they can tie their steel and they can set their dobies and stuff, and nothing's going to impact the shear void underneath. And plus, this is a freeform pool with a short little break on it, and so that stuff, the shear void is in small little pieces, so it's not really the best platform to work on. You can kind of see it comes in 6-inch increments, 1 foot, 2 foot. There's a couple different increments, but anyways, you got to trim it and cut it around the pier. So just makes sense to put a material on top of it, like masonite or something that kind of will give a support base for the steel guys and everybody else to work on it after. So. Hey guys, so I hope you enjoyed that little video there, that engineered swimming pool. Little pool, but anyways, was a lot to it. So anyways, please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.